Once we have our layout, what we want to do is use the 3/8 concrete anchor that's provided with the kit. We're going to be using a 3/8 inch concrete bit. And what we've done is we've set our stop to include about 90% of the depth of the fastener. We want to get this fastener as far into the concrete as we can, make sure we have a positive engagement. All right, with the drill on hammer mode, we're going to go ahead and locate our mark. We do recommend you use an industrial type, SDS type drill, not a cordless drill. The number of holes needed to be drilled requires something a little heavier duty. All right, once we have our holes drilled, we want to make sure we vacuum the hole out. We want to make sure we remove any dust or debris that could get in the way of the fastener engaging all the way into the floor. To insert the fastener, simply slides into the hole. We use a small hammer to engage it. Once it's fully bottomed, we can go ahead and remove the nut and the washer and set them aside for installation later. We're going to start spacing out all the rest of our legs as we go down the bench. What we've done is we've laid out the side rails so that we can visualize where our legs are going to go. We need to make sure that always our legs are going to be at an 18-inch increment. That means it could be 18 inches, 3 feet, 4.5, or 6. It'll never be more than 6, and most commonly be 6 feet. So what we've done is we've laid our tape out here, starting on center line of our first roll bar at 0 inches. And what we want to make sure, and the reason that we've laid out our side rails here, is that when we get to our first leg spacing at 6 feet, we can also see that there's a hole for a crossbar. Once we start assembling all the crossbars to the side rails, you'll see how these crossbars lay out. But what we can do to visually verify that we have our correct leg spacing is that one of these holes for the crossbar lines up on your 6-foot increments. Again, this can also be, depending on the length of your bench, an 18-inch increment. As we move down, we see that our holes line up at 6 feet, 12 feet, 18 feet, and all the way down to 42 feet. This is the first way you can check to make sure all your layout's going to work. As you can see, we have one of our benches coming together pretty well. We have all our leg layout done. Let's talk real quick about some of the components that we've already built that are assembled here, namely the legs themselves. Let's look real quick at how the legs go together. Leg is a very simple piece. It's considered your lower leg. This is considered your roll bar. Your roll bar is where your tubing will lay, and then your bench will go on top of that, allowing these benches to move side to side. These are pre-drilled, both on the roll bar and on the upper leg. Very easy to assemble. It's just going to take 2 screws on each side, 8 screws total per upper leg assembly. The lower leg assembly that you can see we already have attached to the floor here is just this formed steel piece. And what this is going to allow us to do is use these slotted holes to align with these slotted holes here, allowing us up to 6 inches of height differential on one side to the other. When setting your bench legs, always leave these a little bit loose so you can slide your leg completely over. This will help keep the legs straight when we go to tighten these to the floor. When we begin assembling the leg, we're going to determine our height. Slide the bolts through, nut and a washer on the inside. And then find the corresponding hole that's open at the same height for a total of 2 bolts on each side. That's it for the leg assemblies. They're a very simple piece, really effective and very strong.